Hello everyone. I'm going to attempt today what I don't normally manage, and that's a quick video. I just want to show you the technique that I used to make this card. For this, I've used pigment powder from Indigo Blue. This one's called Grungy Gold. It actually looks green in the pot, and if you use it on white cardstock, it can look green in some lights or at some angles. However, use it on dark cardstock here, and the effect is what it says on the packet, grungy gold. So I'll just show you how I went about it. I used the stamp, I believe, is an old memory box one. The sentiment is a memory box one as well. So to save time, I have cut some of the things already. This time I thought I would use a small square card. This one is 5 inches by 5 inches, and the reason I decided to do that was because I used a couple of framelets. These are Sizzix framelets dies for the mount, and the larger one fits on the waist, from the waist, when I cut one of those cards from a piece of A4. So I could cut that from the bit I cut off down the side. So that's the reason I chose this side. So I don't quite know yet quite what it'll look like when we're finished, but that is for the base of the mount. This is for the image. It's the smaller of the two dies. And this piece I cut on my trimmer just a tad larger than the image one, and I'm going to treat that as I did here with the gold pigment powder. So this is what we're going to do. Put those on one side. Here's my piece of paper for my image. To start with, I'm just going to rub it with an embossing buddy, anti-static bag, because I'm going to use Versamark on this stamp. And the one thing I've got to be careful of when I do stamp it is getting Versamark on the edge here of the rubber, and that transfers a mark which would then show up. So I'm going to try and be careful, but if it does actually show, there is something I can do to get rid of it. You can always do this to start with, just try and keep the edges clean so you don't get any impression from those. Okay. Right. Very often I will do this onto a piece of card before I die cut it, and then I can make sure that the image is absolutely in the middle of the paper or the card. Now I can see by looking across, very difficult to see for you, there is a tiny little bit of Versamark right there. I do it nearly every time. Even though I went round with my finger, there's still a bit there. I may have sorted it by doing that. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is get my pigment powder and a big old fluffy soft brush, and I'm just going to dip it into the powder and then dust it onto the Versamark. And I have seen that Tonic make a big old brush called I think it's called a sweeper brush or something, that is designed to get rid of all the excess powder when you're using. Can you see there? That is where I'll come into that. That is where the edge of the stamp. Can you see? Just there, there's a line. Oh well, let's come out again so that I don't carry on doing stuff when nobody can see. Right, carry on with just making sure there's plenty of pigment powder on the actual places where the Versamark was. Right, now I've got another soft brush here. Make sure there's nothing on it. And I'm going to see if I can get rid of this now. This is what I'm hoping to get, is my new Swiffer brush or sweeper brush or whatever they call it, to get rid of excess like this. What I did with the other card was to use a bit of paper towel like this and gently get rid of it. But I'm hoping, I say, that this sweeper brush is going to do the business. Okay. Now we've still got that mark there, but I have got this thing, Iono it says, and what it is basically is an electric eraser. I think that these kind of things were designed to get rid of any excess foiling. If you do like with your glimmer machine and there's a bit of foil impression where you don't want it, this can get rid of it. So hopefully, there we go, it's gone. Got rid of that. There's a little bit here. Whoops. It just whizzes round. It's just like a little round nib and it whizzes round. So there. We've got rid of that. Okay, now the next thing is the mount that it's going to go on. And what I propose to do with this is just wipe the edge like this onto the Versamark, because it's only the edge that's going to show. There we are. And then with my brush again, just going to go over the edge. Should really do this on a piece of paper, but still, there we go. I mean, when I make these videos, I'm not suggesting you do exactly what I do. It's just for you to use the ideas, really, and run with them and do, you know, as you would like with them. Right, let me just put the lid back on this. Give that a wipe. And dust off this. There we are. Now I can stick this onto this. So just a tiddly bit will show. There we go. Stick that onto this. There we go. Then that can go onto there. And how I would put that on there would be with a little bit of foam tape, just to add that little bit of relief, make it just stand out a tiny bit more. So a couple of bits of foam tape. And that goes onto there. Now, which way does it open? Always a good idea to check. That way. Okay, that goes on there. Now, this sentiment, when I made the other card to start with, I thought I would give the sentiment exactly the same treatment that I had given the mount. And what I did, I got my brayer and I brayed over the top with Versamark and then used some more of this. But it just kind of didn't look bright enough. I suppose this is stacked 3 times. The paper or the card I used for this is very, very thin. So I had to put 3 layers together. So because there's a fair bit of relief there, I guess, the Versamark didn't get down into the crevices. So what I used instead was just a little gilding wax and pop it onto, so you can just see how much you've actually got on your finger, and then add to the top of here. have to be quite gentle, otherwise you can overkill it. So there is the sentiment highlighted. I'll just wipe the desk again. And the way you can add this to the card is either micro dot, something like that, or just a bit of glue. And what I used was my big old Nouveau glue pen and just stuck that down on there. So there we go. Very quick video for me. I'll stick this down now and put a picture of the card at the beginning of the video. I do hope you enjoy the odd tips that you may pick up, and do give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. Thank you so much for watching.